We can do it. Oh, knock up. Knock back. First blood is coming through immediately. There it is, baby. Late into the split. It feels good. 18 minutes.
Lulu is far. Zeri. Okay, Zeri.
I'm on HP.
I know flash. I need help as well.
I have to just there's nobody else.
Nice. Just
Festa.
go in. I'm sorry, Patrick.
I never get it.
Hello and welcome back to LEC. I'm Ginny, joined by our victorious GX. We have Jackie's as well as Drake. Thank you so much for joining me for the interview. Congratulations on the win. Last time we had a conversation, you said you're going to play consistently and you're going to do well, and you did that. How does it feel?
Well, the game before that interview, I didn't do it. But this game, I think I did what I said, is that I think I played pretty consistent, yeah. I think I led the game pretty well. So I'm happy about the win and how I played today, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, it was a clean game, and as well for you, Trick, in terms of your role within GX, helping Peach, particularly with that synergy, something we've seen between the two of you during winter. But when you're looking at Peach's performance this game, are you happy? Do you think that was great?
Oh, I think if he make a mistake on top side one time, out of this, I think it was really good. Yeah.
So the steps are being implemented to be playing together a little bit better. In terms from your perspective coming into this game, because as well, like we had a chat earlier with Odo and Ignar, and they were saying this game is gold. We have to win this. This is our ticket to playoffs. Were you feeling any pressure?
I mean, there was a bit of pressure, not enough to like change my mindset or something, but I knew like in my mind that this is the game we have to win. Like if we lose, it's just doomed, you know?
Yeah.
Like we have really small chances on playoffs. Like our confidence is in the bin, and so this was for sure an important game. But I wouldn't say it was like some extra pressure added to my mind. I was just ready to play, and I was focused on the win.
Is the confidence a bit better for playoffs now?
Oh yeah, because like I think we prepare kind of good. Like, so I think we can do we can get like playoffs, and we can do very well. Yeah.
This game particularly, I feel like it was one of the best games we've seen from Giant X. It was a quick game, it was a clean game. But one thing about it particularly that I'm really surprised by was the fact that the first blood was 18 minutes and 10 seconds into the game. Whereas on average here in the LEC, 6 minutes, 13 seconds, you get level 6, just run it down, kill your opponent. What was that? Was that the pressure? Was that just taking it slow? What exactly happened?
Well, I mean, we did play kind of safe, to be fair, this game, but it was more of an objective game. And every time we went to an objective, like, Rogue kind of just looked at us and didn't do anything. So we kind of just took the objective and left.
Yeah.
So it felt really weird in the game, not gonna lie. But for sure, I think the first blood was for Drake, I assume. Like, they were just, I think, really struggling to get the Drake. Like, you could see the pressure on them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think in their comms, there was like, if we give this Drake, like, we have to fight. And they kind of fumbled. So, yeah, I mean, it's weird, 80 minutes in the game to get a first blood. But I think it was controlled by us pretty well, so.
Yeah, and once you have the Nash, you finish the game, you know, no inting, no running it down. That was great. You still have Vitality as well as Heretics coming up next. In terms of the performance that you've seen right now and your role in terms of helping Peach, particularly on that jungle side, what do you think are the biggest learning points from this game?
I think biggest learning point is like we actually like make plan to like before the game we know what to do in the game. So that's I think we learning from that, and I think team fight like before it was like kind of pretty bad, but I think now play like pretty good. So I think it's we can learn from them too. Yeah, learn from it too. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much to both of you for the interview, and once again, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Best of luck with the 2 remaining games of this week. And for those of you at home, we're ready to head into the second game of today because we have BDS going up against Fnatic with Dagda and Drakos.
Thank you very much, Ginny. Thank you to Jackie's and Trick as well for that wonderful interview. As you see Nightshare and the Fnatic boys coming in, as well as BDS, who are dressed up for the funeral of Fnatic. Damn, that is bold. But you can't hate on the BDS content game. I will say, would have thought Fnatic could afford a nicer casket. That's all I'm putting out there, boys. And if you're dying in plain wood, man, it's like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, look,
1800s peasants died in better materials than that. That's all I'm saying.
Do you know what? Maybe they just like the style, you know?
I don't know why I'm weirdly obsessed as to the quality of your casket.
I was going to say, I don't even know how to follow this. I'm like, I don't know casks enough. I haven't looked into
I don't either. I'm actually but I trust that no one else does. You know, you can say whatever you want as long as you're talking about a subject that most people in the audience don't know about. I will get one guy on Twitter talking to me about that who works at, you know, a mortuary, but I'm not worried about him. That content wasn't for him. As the pants are up, nuke rolling, ready to go. BDS focused. Of course, our drafts are pre-recorded, happening a little bit early on, so now we get to see those drafts play out on stage. Talia, Jax, Varus, Nico, Smolder, Callista. So there are some options here. Keep in mind, Ice has played 2 champions. It is Zeri and Aphelios. We'll see if we get a third today.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Striker giving an impassioned speech to the boys. We talked about this team a lot on the podcast this week, Rob. Big sentiment is it feels like BDS are going back to comfort to cinch some of these wins. Orianna certainly being indicative of that. Kind of the downside of this is that we're not really getting to see the evolution of BDS that they themselves told us they wanted to work on. You know, we're seeing a back to basics, team fighting around Drake's sort of BDS style, which isn't a bad thing if you need to get wins, and they do need to get wins. That said, maybe not the evolution they hoped for.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see how they've kind of come into this draft, because in my eyes, it's like, for Fnatic, also what we're talking about in the draft, is like, it feels like it's mid-jungle and support, right? How they try and play around mid lane, how they try and unlock Humanoid to then play elsewhere around the map, and I feel like you need a strong 2v2. So I was going to say, if they go for the Jarvan for that mid-jungle, it kind of puts you on the back foot when it comes to the 2v2. Xin Zhao at least gives you, you know, the shield from the Orianna, the speed up, and kind of Xin Zhao can be that main threat in that duo, so at least you can kind of fight a little bit more heavily in that 2v2, but curious to see how they want to try and round it out. I wouldn't be surprised to see them try and steal even the Rell away, because I think it has been one of Jun's best champions and something that can have a massive impact in the early stages.
Definitely. And I think the big concern of your team BDS is that, you know, there's a Vi on the opposite side. And Zeri, if she's positioned against a long enough wall, doesn't feel terrible in Divide, but generally it's pretty difficult. We saw Comp really struggle to have an impact in the previous game because of the amount of pressure that was just being put down by just the Vi being in the game. Have to hope that Ice can do a little bit better this time around, but I do also like the Zen. I like seeing Sheo on something that can be a little bit more aggressive early on, not the Sejuanis or Maokais of the world. But Nautilus, relatively safe blind. Karma, technically a flex, as well as the Vi. So Fnatic really haven't shown us anything. They have a strong core to their draft, but the actual identity remains to be defined, as the Olaf and the Twisted Fate are going to be banned away.
Yeah, the Olaf makes a lot of sense, especially because we've seen a lot from Adam, but also into a composition that is very heavily reliant on slows and trying to outpace you when it comes to CC. Getting rid of that Olaf makes a lot of sense. Braum ban, not fully surprised on either, but this is where I was like, what is Labrov actually going to play? Because you could go back towards the Lulu. I mean, the Nautilus goes relatively well into that matchup. You try and go for something else along those lines, like even if you try and go for the Rell, maybe is your opportunity, but maybe that's where Labrov wants to try and go for, but I always feel a little bit like BDS needs a bit more engage. So I feel like probably the Rell is the way forward here for Labrov.
Yeah, I think that some of the Blitzcrank game that we've seen this season, the Thresh games have been... I have not enjoyed them personally. I did not feel like those were Labrov's best performances. I would love to see him get back to basics on engaged champions. But Fnatic, will they pick Arcane Champions, the sister duo, the synergy?
I think it works as well because you got the Karma mid, right, which basically provides the support function that the Jinx needs with shields and speed ups, whereas now you've just got a very heavy bruiser front line that you can try and play behind. There's not a huge amount of backline threat, especially, well, with the Rell about to be taken up here as well. I think unless Adam has something funky in his wheelhouse that he could try and bring out to try and act as that. Like, maybe you look at something like an Aatrox or something along these lines here for Adam on this next rotation, but that's kind of the only thing I can think of that would threaten this Jinx in a fight.
Yeah, Jinx is really the one big source of damage right now on Fnatic. I wonder if they will try to draft another. If they lock in Renekton here, you can just suffer in the lane phase and go for something like the Aatrox. The Rumble would be another fantastic source of damage, as well as a bit of team fight control. Adam's previous matchup into this pick against Photon did not go well. Of course, it was the Olaf that time around. Fnatic debating if this is what they want to lock in. You know, when we look at the strength of Fnatic, it really has been Razork, Humanoid, and Jun, who I think have been the best performers thus far. Noah and Oscar not finding that same level of consistency yet, so curious to see how Oscar's going to fare. You know, in the 1v1 matchup, I'd assume it favors him, but we'll have to see how he navigates it.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be weird when he gets towards team fights, because the only thing is, like, yes, your Rumble will have, like, the follow-up of the Vials and kind of stick around, but unless you're kind of targeting the Orianna, who in theory has the shield and the runaway, like Zeri's so mobile, it's kind of difficult to lock her down in a position where you can get full use out of it, or she can like hop over a wall that can then get into a position. So I'm curious to see how Oscarinin uses this ult in those team fights. It feels like it's more of like a try and win more with the point-and-click CCs with Vi and the Nautilus and burst out someone that way, but yeah, I think as we start to go into this, I really like what Fnatic have drafted pretty much overall, though. BDS, yes, you've got that front to back, but you kind of have to rely on your top side here to be that bridge to the later portion of the game, which might leave that bot side of the map exposed, where you can try and play around this Jinx and get her rolling early here for Fnatic.
Yeah, and bot side has been a big deal. Razork, no stranger to showing presence down there on the bottom side, and Vi getting through a lot of picks advance today. You know, normally a champion that's essentially perma'd. Second game in a row, we see her now in the hands of Razork. As level 6 comes around, the setup is just so easy. This is a big game. Of course, Fnatic have already locked playoffs. They've already secured top 8. Are playing proceeding. They do want a higher seed, but we'll see if BDS get themselves one step closer to clinching a spot here. Let's get into our second game of the day. Feels a little bit like our first game of the day. Game 1 a bit uneventful. Casual stroll. We're looking for a little bit more of a sprint, I think, in this one.
Yeah, well, to give a look behind the curtain again, Adam, Sheo, and Nuke all fist bumped together. And the bot lane didn't. So already I'm seeing a divide on BDS that I don't know if they will ever recover from in this game.
We need a League of Legends tabloid. That's all I'm saying. We need someone who's so, you know, who's ready to make the narratives that you and I don't have the time to
Twitter
make.
Is.
Yeah, it kind of is. Maybe I'm not following the right people. You know, I need the gossip mongers, the people who are like, they didn't fist bump in game. Clearly internal strife and struggle. We need the behind-the-scenes stage comms. Guys, you got to push you at the start of the game. If you're not fist bumping,
you're bumped.
Yeah, you're bumped.
Yeah.
Minions have spawned.
Bump or be benched. Those are the rules here in League of Legends. Fist bump crucial. But taking a look at the top side, Oscar going for the combat sum. And this might make you nervous. Because last time, had to face down a Rumble with Ignite. It did not go well. But at the same time, Oscar, if he makes a mistake, Sheo comes top side, which he is not usually afraid to do. This could get bad very, very quickly.
That's a pick up for Nuke there. So they clear out the ward, but they waited until Nuke was in range for the XP. So now you'll actually get a little bit of a range or level XP off of the mid lane for Nuke. So you actually can try and push in Humanoid early. So I'm curious to see how that will affect things. Although, as I say that, no one Jun not going to try and force too heavily in the spot lane. They started to push, or they started to get to the spot lane first. So they should be able to at least get some sort of control here in the early stages. But let's straight back from Labrov there.
And I like the early ward on top side that our observers highlighted there. Just covering the potential for any kind of level 2 or early game cheese. Presumably with Humanoid getting pressure in the mid lane too, he can lay a ward on top side and they can have essentially perfect information on if Sheo wants to show face outside of his own jungle. So question mark pings. They're really expecting some Sheo cheese. Sheo, of course, notorious for creative early game pathings and scrims, hence the question mark pings coming down.
This time though, just going for a bit of a bog standard one. The curious one for me is like, how does Sheo try and operate in this game? Because I think he does have a way to play around Nuke if he wants to, where you can play for shields, you can play to try and go for that 2v2. But I think you kind of have to play for, he's just going to try and wrap around away from some of the vision that he thinks might be set up. But
anticipating Razork is going to be here.
Looks like it will.
Is this just a hard read? Okay, not quite a hard read. Waits for a second, expecting Razork to be there. Razork now rounds the corner. Sheo, of course, going to know that he's there. I don't think Razork saw him on the Gromp. No, there, Pink's coming down. Information now confirmed. Sheo comes back in. Ball breaker there. Razork going in, trying to smite away. Level 3 for Sheo. Gets the knock up, both junglers. Walking away, but it's pressure topside, of course, for the side of Fnatic. That means Oscar can roam down and support Razork and taking this blue buff. It'll be 3 buff start for Razork. Bit of extra XP, first access to the crab as well.
I think this is the problem though, like again, you kind of want to play around your top side is the place that's most aggressive and kind of has set up for the Xin Zhao. But on the flip side, you don't really win the push war against Humanoid in the mid lane, you just mantra Qs all the time. And then the top side as well, you got a ton of push. So it kind of ends up in this weird position as BDS where maybe you can force the 1v1 here.
Good upfront damage from Sheo, gets full combo down, flash over from Razork. Sheo just fishing for this 1v1. Karma not going to be able to get there in time. Ball breaker back. Sheo already flashed away, Razork already flashed away. Dashboard whip, that was clean as hell from Sheo. Humanoid can now try to walk up, but he can't get anything else done. Dash to the Raptors. Wind becomes lightning, finishes the job.
Beautifully done there, managing to just barely clip him with the wind becomes lightning, and now you get a ton of control on this bot side. May even look for some sort of play on the top end as well. Sheo's very healthy, and Oscarinin, this is a big old wave that's about to hit under his turret.
Fantastic punish from Sheo. Adam can try to set up with a point-and-click stun, but Oscar's going to immediately flash out. Remember, there is no TP for Oscar. He does not get the luxury of backing here. There's already been a poke going down. I don't think the wave is big enough. I don't think Adam's health bar is big enough. So luckily, Oscar won't suffer under a dive. We'll just be able to try to catch this wave, reset the status of top lane, and probably get a recall of his own off.
Yeah, I wasn't sure with the overheat if they felt more attempts to go because you don't have access to the shield anymore, and maybe you can try and make some sort of play happen there, but they're just going to spot out Razork on this bottom side of the map as well. So nice job by Labrov to try and cover for that early play. But I think this is where, again, like, this is how you want to try and play this game as BDS. Playing on this top side, getting the advantages that you have. And then it becomes a question on Fnatic's side if you can maybe unlock Jun from the bot lane, which they've done so well as of late, to actually move him mid, work with your Razork and Humanoid to try and cover some of these plays, especially around the mid lane.
Yeah. And you can see a bit of a difference in focus in terms of the AD carries. Ice with an early boots too, very standard for the Zeri obviously, but no option for a Cole. Not sure if that's just a product of the base timing. I mean, got early push or was forced for recall. Didn't quite get the visual context there, but clearly focused on scaling. Knows that it's not really about first item. You know, he's not going to get there faster than Ice at this point in the game, but can get a little bit ahead of the curve, courtesy of the economic choice.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where Jinx wants to be, right? Like, obviously she scales very well into the game, but she is a champion that's heavily reliant on her auto attack. So if you end up falling behind or you're just barely breaking even, you don't always have that same level of power in these fights. So going for the early call gives you that cheat.
Well, here, flash away as the shockwave comes out. Good patience initially from Humanoid. Monster Chain falls away, and Razork is committed resources topside. Humanoid walking up like his jungler's there, but he's not. Razork debating where he can actually go. He's pretty far behind Sheo at this point.
Yeah, level 4 on Razork to the level 5 of Sheo, which is why I think he's being a little bit hesitant about fully committing towards these grubs. Wants to make sure he has an out to go towards this top side of the map in case Sheo shows up. But at the moment, Oscarinin is doing a good job of keeping control of the top side, so it makes it very easy for Razork to try and go for this play. And even knowing that Nuke has no ultimate means he's just very lackluster if it came to any sort of skirmish in River.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if BDS are aware of the grubs going down here, but obviously aren't going to get a notification until the third, and Razork just going to full commit here. So we'll even out the XP for the most part. Is to about halfway through level 5, where Sheo's about to tick over to level 6. With this kind of small window of opportunity where they had top pressure, and Sheo wandering in just a tiny bit too late. 10-15 seconds sooner, he gets at least one of those. Razork now retreating, knowing that he's weaker, knowing that their 2v2 is weaker, and Labrov is here as well.
Yeah, the thing is, like, you would want to try and go for some sort of counterplay on the bot side, right? Go for Dragon or something. But because you don't have the ultimate on Nuke because you're using the gank, you'd actually end up weaker on the timing window where Fnatic could actually end up committing to the fight and then take you down. So they try to bring Labrov mid to commit to, hey, can we find maybe Humanoid, then turn that into Dragon? But with no such luck, they just have to back away, and it feels like BDS just don't really have their chance to trade effect.
Dominance coming up from Adam, traded for the ulti of Oscar. Extended trade, Sheo now covering. Level 6 for Sheo, though. Oscar will be first to come in here. Sheo has to back off, knowing that Adam's not going to be able to get over that big wall. Jun here as well, so good heads-up play from Jun to reset and immediately walk top lane. Flash in from Adam, he's committed to the play. The Ignite now ticking, he's going to get one, he's going to dash out, and he's not going to live. It's the 1-for-1, but Fnatic already committed so many resources. That's the Shockwave mid, flash in, shattering strike. Wind becomes lightning one more time in the mid lane as Sheo grabs another.
Nice roam from Labrov there to the mid lane. They spotted that the Jinx was alone on her tower, so Labrov was free to get out onto the map, mining Jing to find that play in mid. Whereas topside, I mean, not the end of the world for Oscarinin, let's be real. You got to pick up the majority of the wave, but it ends up being a 1-for-1. But here we go.
I think they found a pick onto Jun, but who is picking who? Level 6 now coming in for Razork. Stun now coming in. Ulti comes in for BDS, but it's perfectly countered out there. The Jinx Rock goes in as well. Sheo now running. Oscarinin on the way, but he might be too late because Adam's here as well. They couldn't quite get the play done. Oscar has to be careful about stepping forward. Jun continuing to walk up. Labrov takes a lot of damage. Adam does not want to overcommit for this fight. He knows that Sheo already had to back away. But Fnatic don't get a kill. The slow walk down. Dash over from Labrov. Just enough the overheat. There can't be another rocket to follow up. No flash for Oscar either.
It's so close to coming off cooldown, but it's just not quite there. So at the end of the day, Labrov, yes, he gets burnt a bit, but still manages to get out of there. We'll get to reset as well. So both supports pretty happy that they managed to escape away from that one unscathed.
Certainly. But now Adam, of course, in the 1-for-1, still a little bit behind. Or sorry, 11 gold ahead, just about dead even. But might struggle without the ultimate in these trades against Rumble. Of course, both ultis not too far away here. I feel like though when you're Renekton, if you can just get the Equalizer out in a trade, you're favored. Because the Equalizer is a team fight ult. Yeah, you can use it in the 1v1, right? But Renekton without ulti is still a point-and-click stun. Rumble without ulti is useless and they'll seize 4-0 like Bodon was. So Adam, again, trading. Knowing that his ultimate is up first, but Oscar overheating. Now starting to walk away. Adam knows this one well, but oh, the comment, the little extra damage, he just burns him! Roasted crocodile, baby!
Having that little bit of extra time around the flash means he's just able to keep him at range, and Adam ends up falling down. Oscarinin gets a second kill for himself on that top side, and if you look bot lane as well, there's a lot of pressure here for Fnatic. They had push in mid. It feels like Razork might be fishing for something here.
And Adam no TP means he's not going to be able to respond to this push. Oscar going to keep pushing forward. Doesn't have a TP of his own, of course, to get to bot lane if they want to, but first setup on the Drake should be Fnatic. Sheo, of course, waiting, trying to get the crab down, knowing that they won't be at a man advantage. Good play from Fnatic. Honestly, Oscar on the top side of the map. He's had some, great games. He's had some really tough games this split, but this one's starting off pretty fantastic.
And this is where, again, we're kind of seeing the struggles of BDS this split. Yes, they have a composition that can try and look for team fights, but it's a composition that wants to play away from dragons. BDS, when we saw them having their biggest success, was we will stack dragons, we will look for late game or third dragon team fights, and that is how we will beat you down. But with the way that this game has gone, BDS haven't been able to get control over the bot side objectives. Fnatic had already taken control of the top side, and now you're kind of in no man's land for BDS, where it just doesn't feel quite like you have control anywhere on the map.
Ooh. And now Fnatic have a tempo lead. Haha, take that. That's an extra 5 seconds in your recall timer. That matters. Razork going to try to start out the second grub spawn as well. Sheo will see this, but Humanoid is resetting.
But you don't have a support.
They are coming in.
Interrupted.
It's a 3. No, it's a 3-3. Orianna's here.
Yeah. I don't think
okay,
he can
one
really go.
grub.
The problem is, all right, so they don't... Oh, Humanoid has TP to get back to lane, which is why they're not as ready as BDS to go for this, because that's the actual trade-off for Labrov is I don't get to reset as Labrov, so I can't be there for the fight.
Yes.
Which means it's now coming down to, can we really trust that this is a 3v3, or do we know where Humanoid is? And you just don't if you're BDS, so Razork manages to get away with one of the Void Grubs and even try to make a play on the top
But the
side
thing is, the reset comes in from Sheo. They can just walk in and take
now
one
he's
more
gonna do
grub.
it again.
They got 4, he just walks in, he takes 1 grub here. They get the 5 grub buff. That's huge for a Rumble who's already winning in side lane. And for a Jinx, as we get later into the game, a terrifying prospect. This is very well played by Fnatic. They take their time. Humanoid's already back in the mid lane.
Oh, yes, okay, he's pinged him there.
Yeah, but even if he does, he's going to walk in, going to outsmite the Vi.
Oh, they're going to pinch him. They're just going to look for the dive?
Sheo on bot side. Oh, this is tough. Adam could just delete the wave, though. This should be a very hard dive to pull off. Equalizer goes down. Adam immediately gets down to it, but the pushback just barely gets him in. Clean on the vault breaker from Razork to ensure the equalizer damage connects. Nuke now flashing in, though. He wants to get at least 1 punish back. Razork getting caught out on the edge of the vault breaker. That's the punish kill. Humanoid coming in top lane as the dragon goes down. A messy exchange. But it's Oscar who gets to keep the push up.
The problem was Humanoid TP top, though. He didn't really need to. Razork was going to fall, and now it's given a ton of control to BDS on his bot side. Noah and Jun can't approach this bot lane wave because they know that all their members are on the top side, and you're just going to lose a massive wave and turret plates now on the bottom side of the map.
I'm not sure what Noah saw in that context. If he saw the ward go down and knew he had to be careful.
He saw his life flash before his eyes.
Yeah, but the diligence on checking the flash with a zap and laying down the ward to spot Sheo means that he will live. Could have just been a death sentence, as luckily for Fnatic, they regain control over the bot side. Very likely, yeah, could have just been the dive there. But here we take a look at the play one more time.
Yeah, I mean, look, you end up getting the kill onto Adam. As he said, the knockback onto Adam, putting him into the equalizer was huge. The TP then on the top side to get the 1-for-1 trade. Honestly, I actually think this kind of favors BDS. You trade 1-for-1 top, you got the wave as well. You get the TP for TP, but you win massively on the bot side because you get turret plate, you get dragon, and you get position now on your bottom half. So honestly, BDS actually come out on top for what Fnatic had started off as the play.
Definitely feels like Fnatic may have overcommitted resources on the top side. The big one being that TP from Humanoid is now Adam's going to be set to clear out bottom side of the map. First item spikes coming through for both AD carries. It is a 600 gold lead for Noah. He did have the coal, and he has now also sold it. So not surprising to see that. But also, if he's left alone, we'll be able to take a lot of these towers down. It's 6 grubs. It's not the most impactful buff in the game, but you can't just give them all away. Now the collapse, and Adam, all right, Houdini. How are you getting out of this one? You can walk away, you can concede the plates in the tower, hope that there's a cross map, but it looks like BDS are going to try to respond. But they're responding against 6 grub buff, and they're already moving away. They know it's too late. This is 2 plates for Noah, probably.
Yeah, it's either a case of Adam, he's either the magician that escapes, or he's the one that you watch disappear.
Yeah.
Managed to absolutely destroy him underneath the tower.
Well said.
Yeah. Here, though, I mean, BDS just, excuse me, sorry, look for the cross map. It's very, very simple. Like, there's not really much that you can do here. Razork is in the area, as Labrov had actually moved down to the bot side to try and help out. So I think that's why Sheo kind of realizes he's on his own here.
Okay. Sheo first setup. Labrov first access through mid as Ice is going to be able to push this wave out. This should go to BDS unless Fnatic are really willing to bully their way in. A bit of hesitance from BDS. You think you can see they're trying to make 2 plays at the same time. The Rocket not going to do much. But they were also trying to set up bot side on Noah at the same time they're setting up for Herald, and it almost went wrong. But almost, of course, not enough. So the Herald does go to BDS, and they'll be ready to even this gold lead out. At least fight fire with fire when it comes to tower pressure.
This is where it gets a little bit tough for BDS, though, because Noah has picked up Static Shiv. He's just going to one-shot waves all day mid, and then he can just back off, right? And obviously it's matched by Ice, but the whole point here is that it actually starts to unlock Jun on the map, where he can start to move up towards top side. And because you've got a natural advantage for the Karma in the push against Nuke, you can set up for dives there. Oscarinin is massively far ahead against Adam, so you can also set up for plays into that Rumble Renekton matchup. So having that side lane control, Fnatic now get to just lean either way, whether they want to set up vision on top to look for a dive there, or if they're more concerned with this dragon in a minute and a half's time, you just set up vision boss, look for potential dive onto Nuke. Like, you have to be so careful as BDS to try and control this, and that's why you're seeing like a bunch of vision being set up with these like choke points on either side, just as you start to enter into the jungle, because they're trying to figure out what side Fnatic is leaning to, because that will tell you what side of the map they want to play for.
Definitely. And with the minute 15 till that Ocean Drake spawns, not surprising to see a lot of members of Fnatic show their face on the bottom side of the map. But right now, the advanced vision belongs to BDS. They've got Prio in bot lane. They're using it well. They're not setting up a lot of deep vision, though. Still playing with a lot of respect. That Tri-Brush normally kind of the crux of making plays around bottom side. So a bit more of a defensive option, as they're not quite certain where the rest of Fnatic is.
I like the call here from Humanoid, though. Slow push out on bot side. He's not going to have to overextend if he wants to be, if he wants to try and push the wave. But it also means that he can try and set up a little bounce back wave here if he wants to. Now he does full clear.
No, he does. He just resets it.
But yeah, especially when you imagine with how aggressive Nuke was playing, Sheo's bot side, so Fnatic go top.
Comes Oscar, long range committal of the ultimate, doesn't want to do it. Random Jinx rockets, beautifully highlighted by our observers. Every single one a little bit of a bait thus far.
Razork just needs to be careful, though.
Razork does need to be careful, but Jun is here too, so unless they can burst Razork down, the flash out, the ball breaker out, Razork giving that level of respect to the opposition.
Still, though, it was kind of the call from Fnatic was, look, we're going to trade Dragon priority or Dragon Vision here for this play on top side and try and get top tower. Because BDS defend well, now you've got Ice who's able to step up in mid lane because the rest of Fnatic had to go so far back, and BDS now will push in mid, can actually lean in towards Dragon as well. So with that great defense on top side, BDS have net themselves a second Dragon more than likely here.
Definitely have. I mean, we're just trading waves bottom lane. The vision was already established by BDS. Now they got to reap reward here. Once again, the counterplay topside trying to come through. Razork doesn't have ultimate. Ball breaker is there, but just Adam flashing away. Knowing that they've already secured Dragon, that giving his life is the only way you 100% make this trade favorable. That said, Oscar has done so much damage to the tower over the last few plays, over the few dives, that he will finally knock that one down. So gold still favoring Fnatic in the exchange, but the Drake will go to BDS.
Still have to be careful, though, because Ripchild is here for BDS. They're going to immediately move in mid. Adam could TP if they really want to, but they should be able to use this to crash down a mid turret. So again, kind of the early Ripchild coming back to help out BDS here.
Oh, knockback. You're going to get knocked out. Sheo needs to be careful here. Can mitigate so much of that damage courtesy of the ultimate. Ultra shock lasers as well, so the disengage is going to come through. I don't think Sheo needed to remount there, but it's only going to cost his ult, so it won't hurt too bad. That said, Fnatic now have some priority in the mid lane as they fight back. Credit to BDS. They got the Herald earlier. They were behind in tempo. You know, trading Drake for tower, maybe not ideal in terms of gold, but they can cheat that when they have the Herald and are able to knock down mid lane tower.
They force BDS out of this bot side, though, so Fnatic immediately going to try and TP in to clear the wave and just have numbers down on this bot side. You can see that a lot of members of Fnatic have disappeared to try and get into this position, and they don't know where Oscarinin is on the map as well. So they don't know if it's 5 members of Fnatic on bot side or if it's just the 4 of them. So BDS moving his unit here.
Sheo has to be careful about getting hooked here. He has no ultimate, but Humanoid, the Mantra Q getting body block by Labrov is big. I think that oftentimes why Karma feels can feel really broken or really underwhelming in pro is just because, yeah, it's one skill. Really. I mean, there's other abilities that are all significant in the context of a team fight, but if you want Karma to 100 to 0 somebody, you're going to wait for some time.
I was going to say, though, like, the AoE burst that she has off of just Malignance is absolutely insane.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's this is kind of the moment where Fnatic are insanely strong, where you've got both Humanoid and Oscarinin finishing that like 1 item to 1.5 items. So I want to see how Fnatic try and push their advantage forward here. Like, they're doing a relatively good job already, but it's just that you can crack open this game in the next couple of minutes. But for that, you need to find a way to force the fight against BDS. But, you know, third dragon, 3 minutes time, and you haven't even picked up one yet, makes it that a little bit of a difficult spot because BDS can just ignore it. Yep. So I want to see if they can get full control here on mid and then use that to put pressure onto this bot side jungle. Look for the bot lane tower. Look to start rotating people around the map, because honestly this is going to be the way you need to crack this game open.
Yeah, and I think for BDS credit, I mean, yes, top lane has been a bit of a struggle, but despite the fact that Fnatic do have a super fed Rumble, it hasn't really felt that way for a lot of the game, and BDS has done a really good job of trading relatively evenly. I think that's going to net them a lot of benefits as we get later into the game. So while going back to team fighting isn't always what we want for BDS, it's good to see that the fundamentals are still there for them as we get later in the game. Execution of the fights, though, something we have to watch. You talk about Mantra Q, you talk about Rumble Ultimate, and it's like, yeah, it's not always enough to kill somebody, but if Jinx sees 3 40% health targets, you just pentakill. It's the only thing you can think in your head. You just repeat that phrase to yourself over and over again as you kind of just mow through the enemy team.
Yeah, I think, though, you're going to need a little bit more time for Fnatic to get control of the map before we get to that point, right? Oh, yeah. And I think at this stage, it's with bot tower going down, it actually makes it a little bit easier for BDS where they can actually look for trades on the map. Because ideally, I think what you want to try and do here is play for, you know, push on mid as Fnatic to then set up vision on this bot side, and then you can like push again in mid and then move Jund down here to collapse with the Vi as well, wrap around and make sure that you're able to pick off anyone who's underneath that bot lane tower. But BDS are literally doing the exact same play here top, because they know, hey, we can actually just trade for position on the map, and because Zeri has push in mid, BDS know that they can actually use and move Zeri first. Even having the TP open for the Renekton as well, they can always force a numbers advantage, and that's why Fnatic now are kind of on the back foot, just because you've got that cheat of tempo with the TP on Adam.
With the TP on Adam, as well as the mid lane tier 1 being down. Look how far back Noah has to be to catch these waves. You know, you're always going to be reacting to what the enemy team is doing. You don't have the luxury of that instant wave clear that something like, you know, a lethality Varus would bring for you. As a result, Fnatic kind of playing to the tune of BDS. But BDS, I mean, it's tough to push this advantage much further forward, really, at this point. Especially if they get caught out like that. Ice, no wall to stand against. It's going to be forced out in terms of the flash. Humanoid, again, committing the TP, expecting a bigger fight. They got the flash, that's what they came for, but losing the TP does hurt a bit, as now he can't cover topside. And
this is what I was actually going to say for Noah. You're more free in this matchup in the mid lane, because you've got the bigger range advantage, and you don't have this point-and-click CC on the opposite side that can cause you issues. So this is how I think you have to fight against this as Fnatic, is you group on mid wave first, let Noah use that range advantage to push Ice back. Push in mid-wave. Then you get to establish the vision on the side of the map you want to try and play for. But if you don't do that, it becomes a little bit more difficult, where Ice is able to aggress forward in the lane. And in a 1v1 scenario, if Ice can close that distance with the ghost advantage he has, then you can try and play for the pick as Noah.
And you can see Razork hoping to catch BDS in the setup, hoping to catch them as they would look to lay down a bit of vision. Wave pressure on bottom side in favor of BDS, but Fnatic just willing to concede whatever gold is there to show up for this Drake. They took out both summoner spells from Ice. They should be favored in the 5v5 if they can find a good angle. But we're seeing BDS just choke them out in terms of vision and not give them easy access into the pit.
And it's these choke points that are the problem. You've got so much that works so well in these close quarter fights, so that's why that ball is just sitting in the middle of that choke, daring Fnatic to take a step forward.
They might just take that dare. Noah has to be careful. Good bit of chunk damage on. Dragon already going to be gone. Pullback is clean, and instantly the jungler is gone. Fnatic now need to retreat. Noah getting picked up onto the side. Sheo now looking to follow up. This is a disaster. Noah and Jund behind enemy lines. Maybe the Jinx can find a reset. Maybe they can bring it back. Noah and Humanoid on the backside, but Sheo is not going to let that happen. Down goes Noah. Down goes the AD carry of Fnatic. Oscar and Humanoid desperately trying to clean up, but it's just a 2v5. Ice, no business being that far forward, and Humanoid happy to punish him for it. Shutdown coming through for BDS, but again, Sheo just does not stop. This man playing like an absolute demon on the Zinzao. Humanoid forced to flash out to safety. That's 3 Drakes for BDS. Total control now.
Well, finally managed to put Sheo back at his cage, but Fnatic are nowhere to be seen. Decimation in the fight, and BDS come out on top massively there. It looked like it was going to be a good fight for Fnatic, because I was watching Oscarinin at the back of this fight. He's able to get a ton of damage onto people, but with Nuke initially ulting Razork, it's only one target for what's a pretty sizable ultimate in this fight. And Ice isn't really in a position where he has the AD that he needs to try and follow up here. He's very much trying to play on, I can do mass AoE damage, but no one on Fnatic is actually really set, or sorry, no one in BDS is kind of set up here where you can actually fight for Noah. Like, Noah's been completely caught out by himself. Oscarinin on the top side of the fight is doing a ton of damage on this. And then Ice, like, yes, he's 1v1 at Humanoid, but the rest of BDS is absolutely destroying them in the rest of this fight.
I mean, I think the big thing we talked about in draft is that oftentimes you want to see Jinx paired with that Enchanter. This time they have a Karma mid lane. There's no Enchanter. Jonah's not supporting Noah in that fight outside of the initial CC. So when you split Humanoid and Noah like that, it's so hard for Noah to play fights. Xin just gets to stick on top of him, and Jinx does not have nearly enough damage at this point in the game to 1v1 a Xin in melee range. It's just not going to happen.
And now you got to try and set up once more as Fnatic here, and I think this is what I was saying, like, I wanted to see them push that advantage forward more directly into, hey, shove mid into established bot side, into look for towers, because now BDS, they find that team fight, they have 3 dragons, and as long as they play it slow and they continue to push in and keep the vision dark for Fnatic, it's very difficult for them to try and match the pace of BDS.
TP coming in from Adam. Humanoid is, I mean, mostly powerless to stop that. I think Adam anticipating a collapse on bottom side that wasn't actually there, as he did push very far. We can ask him about that one later. Regardless, he lives from the imaginary gank that wasn't coming through.
Yeah, I think he was worried because you had BDS covering topside, so they knew that nobody on Fnatic was in that topside jungle, so he was like, okay, they must be boss and about to gank me. I just need to get out of here as soon as possible. So yeah, I can understand where he's coming from. And at the end of the day, it's not really going to matter too much. You've got Nuke, Humanoids, they're going to be able to match teleports. It just means that Adam will have to play with the team for the moment, and playing for the team right now is playing for Baron.
Yeah, Fnatic. I mean, it feels like powerless to stop the pressure the BDS are putting down. Razork, Oscar hesitating to even walk in. They don't have mid priority. They see 2 members now. They don't know that the Baron has been started. You can assume that they've guessed, but they haven't spotted the Crocodile in the bush. Adam waiting beautifully, instantly onto the back line, just looking to one-shot Noah. The Karma shielding, is it going to be enough? Noah now trying to hold on to his life. On the chase now coming through from Adam. They bought enough space for Noah briefly, but Ice, full HP, ready to keep this fight going. Oscar goes golden, but he's about to get taken down. Beautifully played by BDS. They bait the trap, and Fnatic can't help themselves. They can't afford to lose the Baron, and they walk right in.
I mean, BDS just know exactly how they want to try and play it. As you say, wait for Fnatic to come into the middle of them and trying to face check Labrov, try to face check Sheo with a nuke ultimate on top. It's just going to be a bad, bad time. Adam sitting on this ward on the top side as well, keeps Oscarinin honest, manages to set himself up perfectly to get onto both Noah and Humanoid in the backline. So while Razork is trying to deal with a little bit of confusion in the backline of BDS, it doesn't matter. BDS just deal with him easily. Adam's able to survive, and the rest of BDS can turn on towards the Baron.
Deep sigh into a woo there from Nuke. You can understand why. Obviously, in close fights like that, if they can't finish off Noah, if they can't find those upfront kills, it can turn against them. But now, massive lead for BDS. And a good look. You know, when we talk about BDS, a lot of times we looked at a few of their first wins this season, and they were gift wrapped by some enemy teams throwing leads away. Certainly in the SK game that we saw last week. So the fact that they have been in relatively full control for most stages of this game is a damn good look as we get closer to playoffs.
Yeah, and I think this is, again, what we were kind of talking about is BDS going back towards the style that works. Late game carry for Ice. We will play front to back team fights. We will play around vision. Like, this is the style we always knew BDS could bring out. It was more in those first few weeks trying something new, trying something different. And I agree, that's what they should be trying to do, is evolve, become a team that can really contest, not only for like, hey, we're top 3, but we want to contest the likes of G2 at the top of the table, or at least at the top of a lot of our finals. But for now, BDS playing again, ton of vision control. Fnatic don't really know what's going on, and we just saw what happened to Baron.
And beating Fnatic feels like one step, you know, in the right direction. The only team to beat G2 in the regular season thus far this year. Adam isolated a little bit. Fnatic starting things off a bit better. That Orianna ball has to be respected. Vaultbreaker getting charged up. Ice on the backside, getting caught out, but there's no immediate fall. They just sidestep Oscarinin's ultimate. Now it's Razork in the backline, all on his lonesome as Noah just starts to free hit Labrov. Fnatic have gotten the reset they needed. Razork has bought enough time. Ice wants to turn it back. Going over the wall to face down Humanoid. It's the Jinx versus the Zeri. Sheo, though, continuing to step up. Burning, ticking! Malignant's getting the job done. The inner fire. The mantra from Karma finishing it. BDS now on the retreat, knowing they just have to get out to safety. They got the soul. They got what they came for. Yes, Fnatic, you got the fight. But it might just be too late.
The fact you get Soul off the back of this for BDS is huge. Yes, Noah can push in mid. Should be able to get this mid lane tower, although maybe don't want to stick around as BDS are coming back out. But even then, they got what, as you say, BDS got what they wanted. They came in, they managed to get Adam into a position where he can actually threaten off the sides. So Oscarinin and Razork kind of have to mark him. The hook onto Nuke is nice, but the fact he go golden buys time. And then look at Labrov in the back line. He's peeling Humanoid out, so Humanoid can't really get into the fight. Again, Ice is able to deal with Razork, and then flies over the wall. Sheo managed to finish off the Dragon just in the back end of that. And look, Nuke getting sniped by Humanoid is really nice. But BDS, they still got what they wanted. And now the next time this fight happens, it's not even going to be close.
Nope. No, it will not be. The top gold gap is closed. Remember, it was like 1.4K for Oscar early in the game. Now it's only 300 difference. Massive lead for Sheo. Big lead for Nuke. And a lot of parts of that fight went pretty well for Fnatic. You know, some of them just being the edge of that Karma hitbox, to be honest. It's only going to get more difficult as the lead on the side of BDS continues to mount. But they did effectively stall out the Baron. BDS choosing to use that buff to go for Infernal instead of really taking down a lot of towers.
I think as Fnatic now, you got to try and find some way to cook corner. Like, just try and find something where you can go, hey, Adam's on bottom side, can we like shove mid to collapse on top or find some sort of pick? Because if BDS just continue, which is their usual threat of this 1-4 split push, it's going to be very, very tough for Fnatic to find a window back into this game. Like 2 minutes until Baron. BDS, they don't really have the range at least to threaten a lot of these towers unless they catch people out or can force a fight. So that will give some leeway to Fnatic. So I think it will be a Baron call that BDS need to finish this game.
Yeah, BDS is being diligent, establishing topside control, bleeding more and more resources away from Fnatic, taking these camps for themselves, ensuring that the vision line gets pushed deeper and deeper. Classic closeout kind of stuff, and it is tough for Fnatic to respond. We talk about it. They can try to overload the side of the map, but at this point in the game, it's really hard to get anything without giving something else up to BDS in return, and the most you can kind of hope for is trading even. But, you know, we talk a lot about these fights favoring BDS, and part of the reason is it's just really easy for them to start, to just go, to kick fights off in their favor, and if Fnatic are the ones being proactive, yeah, the Rumble Walt's going to feel great, but you saw the previous play, if they're reactive, if they're not locking someone down in the midst of that Rumble Wall, people just walk out of it. And I mean, it's just not enough.
The other problem for them as well is that, like, because you end up having to move back and forth behind your own towers, like, you're moving this way and back over here constantly to try and clear out these waves. You actually just don't get to clear out the vision control that's already been established here for BDS on this top side of the map. So now, again, you are face checking, but significantly further back. And you kind of have your window here as Fnatic to clear that out, because you can imagine BDS is reset with Baron in a minute's time. But you're just going to shove mid, re-establish that vision on the top side. And Fnatic are only just starting to poke their nose into their own jungle, let alone trying to get decent vision control in River.
Yeah, you know you're stronger in an even fight on the side of BDS, and you're going to be able to push the waves out first, which means that Fnatic can get vision like they did here. It will live till the next wave comes in, and that is your tiny window of opportunity as long as BDS don't misstep, which they may have here. Rob taking a bit of poke, Humanoid looking for the lockdown. Noah's ulti, where is it going to go? Sheo potentially stepping too far forward, doesn't have the immediate backup, but Noah waiting in the darkness. Vaultbreaker getting charged, a decent ult to kick things off from Oscar. A bit of a slower fight, definitely favors Fnatic. The shielding of the Karma. So not a bad start, but not really room to convert it into anything. Rocket going a little bit wide there.
They're massively committed though on BDS's side, so they can actually look for the re-engage. I think Fnatic trying to again see if they can pick off BDS before the resets come through, but I think you got to start Baron now. Either call people in, or you well, you can't really, it's only
Quite,
stuff, but you got to figure out something. Yeah.
This is the only time you've had first setup on an objective the entire game is Fnatic, really. Outside of the grubs that you've stolen away, and they're already walking away. They don't think that they have the angle here, just recalling. I'm not sure if it's item completions for Noah.
But the problem is you don't have Oscarin's ults, you don't have Jun's ults. Like, you don't have these tools that you really need to try and lock down Ice or get the separation you need in a team fight. And BDS never really used anything, right? Yet, like, Labrov didn't use his ults, Nuke didn't, Sheo didn't, so what are you worried about here is BDS. They just played it super slow and let Fnatic use those resources.
Humanoid continuing to walk forward, lockdown onto him! Stepping up way too far. The good news for Fnatic, they try to contest, is that there is a fourth item for Noah. He has Lord Dominic's, but losing the Karma there, terrible. I think Fnatic have to concede this one, but instead they're going to choose to fight. They feel like this is the time where they have to. Noah off to the side, still okay for now. Flashing for Adam, looking to lock up the target. Noah goes to the bush, briefly buys himself a moment, flashes out to safety. It's all eyes on Noah. No one else in this fight matters. The Jinx auto attacks the wave, dies to the shockwave, and that is it. Ice cleaning up, will burn, but he has the luxury item of the GA and BDS. Marching down mid will look to end it right here.
Sheo will bunk down Oscarinin. He had a decent start to the game, but unable to try and transfer that across to a victory. Now BDS with the waves, a little bit indecisive as to whether they just want to try and immediately push through, but with Humanoid having his respawn in just a couple of seconds,
all right,
he can probably just clear out the wave. So instead, they will just turn over towards the Baron. Outer Dragon isn't 20 though, so you kind of need to get this immediately reset and go straight towards that Baron. And now we're kind of on the flip side where when you look at the ultimates that are available for Fnatic, a lot of those are just ticking back up because they were used a bit earlier. Whereas for BDS, you don't quite have Ice's ult up and available, so there might be an opportunity here.
If BDS don't burn this down, I mean, there's no flash on Nuke, no flash on Ice. Yes, Noah has no flash either. Humanoid has access to his. There's a world where Fnatic can find that lockdown onto an isolated target, but BDS have first setup again, and that's what makes it so hard. Again, Fnatic had it previously, they conceded it, essentially because they had to, and now it's, you know, again, this spectator situation.
I think you flip it. I was gonna, like, if I'm Fnatic,
yeah, you
here.
have to.
You can't give Baron and Dragon across.
They're not gonna let him in. Labrov's gonna do everything he can to keep Razork out. It's Adam. Gets sped up very briefly. They're poking, they're chipping. They know they have to commit. Ball breaker over the wall. Razork now in the area. Wants to walk in, wants to get the smite. All of BDS turn on the jungler. They will not let that come through. Now the follow-up engage is there. Noah isolated on the backside. The shockwave is too damn clean. Discipline from BDS. They do not overextend. They do not hesitate. They pull the trigger. And it is summary execution for Fnatic in the pit. Humanoid holding on to hope, but it does not matter. He can kill one member. Sheo wants to go in and finish the job. Even Labrov will not drop the power of the dragon. More than enough. And BDS take a little bit extra time, but they're going to close this one out in style.
We always said it would be a moment when they could fall back to this strong team fight for BDS will live on. And Fnatic, unfortunately, bearing the scars of that as BDS will look to take down the Nexus turrets.
And again, I think we have to call it Sheo. So many players have made this win possible, but then kicked off with Sheo taking control, shutting Razork down early, taking control, making sure the top lane matchup wasn't unplayable, bringing it back in these team fights, and Fnatic never first on the setup, never first on the play, never first in the fight. Now losing out on this game as Razork desperately tries to buy time, but it's a win for BDS, one step closer to the top of the standings.
That's the thing, Fnatic may never be first in the top of the standings now. As a result, G2 still yet to play. They were sitting pretty at the top with the tiebreaker, or the head-to-head over G2, but now G2 going to be very happy that maybe they can slide themselves up into that first place with a win over the course of this weekend.
Would be something we'll have to check on in our third game. G2 versus SK for now. Vote for your key of the player of the game at LEC on X, Sheo, Nuke, or Ice. Oh, it's tough because the shockwaves are also really good. Ice is good, don't get me wrong, he played his role great, but
I think it's Sheo.
It's Sheo.
He played a great game.
He played a fantastic game. That's enough from us here on the desk. We're going to head to a break. When we return, game 3 in the analyst desk.
Done?
Done.
There we go.
Break?
Break.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
I'm tired.
Me too.
So, what do you think? On to the next night? Let's go. Come on.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome everyone to the Kia Tilt Proof Challenge. We're here to see if 4 gamers can stand up to the test.
Dios mío de mi vida.
I think I lost.
I'm so happy that I didn't eat before.